Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another Two for Tuesday. We're very excited to have Alexander Deeb from ClassHook. This is an excellent way for us to connect with students in something that makes sense to them and really hooks them. And he has Jeff Mayo along to share how they use it in his.
Wonderful. Well, thanks, Christy, and thanks. Glad to be here, everyone. As Christy mentioned, I'm Alex, CEO of ClassHook.com. Essentially, what we do is just help educators use popular TV shows and movies in their lessons to make learning more relevant and interactive. And with me, I have the pleasure of speaking to Jeff Mayo, an instructional coach at Matchbook Learning. I leave it to you, Jeff, to explain all the amazing work you're doing in Indianapolis.
Yeah, so we are a public charter school, again, Matchbook Learning, there in the near west side of Indianapolis. We are a turnaround school, so we are working to turn around the education for those students and to support the community with a good school in the neighborhood. We do this through personalized learning and a blended learning model, and that's kind of when ClassHook came in. We had a teacher, I believe, 4 years ago introduce us to it. And as an instructional coach, I ran the e-learning program during the pandemic, and I was able to connect with Alex here, and we were able to work through what the program could do for our students and help our teachers. It was really cool to be able to use the engaging platform and the videos that are there, that are already vetted, that are connected to content, and ready to use within the classroom and within instruction. So in our personalized model, we've been using it a lot, diving deep, letting kids explore learning content beyond a book, beyond a teacher presenting content, but also being able to see in pop culture where literacy and science and math, social studies come alive.
Wow, and thanks for that overview, Jeff. And it's really great to see the impact that Classic has been having on your school and your students. And I want to ask a little bit more about that later. But as a turnaround school, you must have some sort of other approach to education that many other schools might not have, but that many other schools could potentially apply to their practices. So, what's special about your approach to education?
I don't know that there's anything 100% special beyond, we take differentiation to a different level. We take that from differentiating the class into small groups all the way down to the individual student. So again, that personalized learning model, blended learning, we have kids using computers, doing some learning independently with a teacher more as a facilitator in learning. So I think that's the unique part. But I think every school is trying to find a way to engage their students to hook them in class. So that's why we love ClassHook and really getting kids engaged and excited about their learning.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I know that that move from a teacher being a lecturer to a learning facilitator is something that a lot of schools are pushing for. So, have you started out doing that? Like, was that your model from the beginning, or how did you kind of transition to that model to help anyone else who's watching you?
Yeah, that is the matchbook model, the matchbook way. We always have used blended learning. I started with the school 5 years ago. So this is, another exciting year. And we hone in deeply with supporting teachers. So my job, I'm an instructional coach. I work specifically with kindergarten through second grade teachers. We go all the way up to eighth grade. So there are three instructional coaches. We're in the classroom all day, every day, supporting teachers, co-teaching, modeling, giving feedback. So that really helps with that individualization and the personalized learning because it is a different model, right? I
Mhm.
didn't learn it in undergrad. I didn't learn it in my master's, but I've been able to really hone in on these skills. I taught at the school before I became an instructional coach. So I know the kids, I know how to engage them. And it's been really eye-opening to be able to be outside the classroom looking in and supporting those teachers because personalized learning is such a different concept. In blended learning, right? One of the biggest concerns is how do we balance technology with, the traditional um, working hands-on activities,
Mhm.
working in a teacher small group. So it
Yeah.
doesn't become solely computer driven. So that's my job in helping balance that and helping teachers find ways that work specifically for their kids, because it doesn't work the same in every classroom.
Exactly, and that's such a great, so refreshing to hear. As part of our work, I talk to schools all across the spectrum of their implementation of personalized and blended learning. Some are still what you would consider in the very traditional school system, right, where the teacher is a lecturer and there's not much innovation and not even much technology use. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we're working with schools like you who are kind of at the forefront of what we want education to be. Um, I want to come back a little bit to ClassHook and learn, you know, with all the amazing work you're doing. You mentioned a little bit about engaging kids, having a hook. Was there a specific urgent need that ClassHook filled for you when you started to work with us?
So during the pandemic, we needed to find more relevant ways to engage the kids, right? They're at home, they have other competing things. Maybe they were taking care of their siblings. So we needed a way to draw them in. They didn't have the books that, they had in class. So we needed to bring especially literacy alive. That was one of our biggest focuses during the pandemic because students didn't have all the materials. Now, I'd
Mhm.
drive around the neighborhood and give them to them, but our teachers were then able to show these videos and develop concepts, watching a video. There's one specifically I remember from Ice Age, right? We had an EL specific teacher online, and this Ice Age video where, it's the little squirrel and he's chasing the acorn and it falls, makes
Uh-huh.
the crack and the whole
Oh,
avalanche,
yeah.
right?
That's one of my
So
favorites.
yes. So how does the character influence the plot? What could the character have changed? There were
Mhm.
no words in that video,
Yeah, not a
right?
single word. It was great.
Yes. So then we have traditional movies and clips with audio, some without audio. So we're able to engage not just general ed students, but also students with exceptional needs to
Mhm.
be able to help them engage with the content. And then they were able to have a wonderful conversation because I observed this class that day because the teacher wanted to try it. And she was like, "Can you just watch and give feedback?" And the kids were so into it. They were having conversations. We were all speaking Spanish and talking about how what he did was silly, right? Like he
Mhm.
sees the avalanche and he's still trying to get his little acorn.
Mhm.
And then we were able to talk about, you know, personal responsibility and personal action, and it was also a good way to bring in that social emotional learning right in with that SEL with that ELA lesson. So it's it's been exciting to fill those gaps where a book might not have to be used if it's not, a reading specific standard, if it's about comprehending a storyline.
Wow, yeah, that's such a great example and a great way of explaining how Classic could help start that conversation in the classroom and then
Oh,
help students see the relevance of what they're learning. And that's why we bring in a lot of TV show and movie examples because they do showcase real world scenarios. Maybe not the avalanche, that's a little bit more exaggerated. You're probably not pulling an acorn right out of the ice in Antarctica, but for the most part, right, you can kind of see how your learning relates to many different concepts that come into the classroom. With just a little bit of time left, I wanted to showcase a little bit about how you and other people can browse ClassHook. So our website is classhook.com, and in just a second, I'm going to be pulling that up. And so you can come here, classhook.com. It's free for teachers to sign up and start using. You can just search for whatever you're going to teach in your next lesson. And so if we are teaching for cause and effect, which I believe we have that one Ice Age clip under, you'll get a list of results with a lot of filters and a lot of information as to how you can use that clip in your lesson. And then we do have discussion features to engage with students in those sort of active learning experiences that Jeff mentioned. So when you have a chance, give us a look at classic.com. I really appreciate it, Jeff.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah. Okay.